Yeah, hello, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, man.
You had a great weekend, right?
We had a good weekend, man. We had a pretty good weekend in Philly. It was a pretty awesome time out there.
Of course, we are on the line with Xtreme Couture's boxing coach, Gilbert Melendez.
Gil Martinez.
Yeah, sorry, Gilbert Martinez, who was, of course, in the corner of both Vitor Belfort and Mike Pyle this past weekend. How did things go down?
We went 1-1. A little disappointed with Mike's fight. I think he kind of froze up and maybe the moment got to him. I don't know. Maybe we're not really sure what happened. But on the other hand, Vitor Belfort looked amazing. He looked great. People are saying he's like a vintage Belfort, back to the speed that he had, and we were very happy with his performance.
Yeah, he looked great. And for those callers out there, if you want to call in and talk to Gil, you can call in at 646-929-2442. That's Gil Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Gil, Vitor Belfort got a lot of slack for his comments afterwards the fight, as far as wanting to fight Anderson Silva. Dana White felt it was too soon. What were your opinions on that?
We would love to get that rematch. This was the first camp that I was completely involved with Vitor for his fight. Other previous camps I had very small parts in it, but this camp we worked a lot, and so now I pretty much became part of the team. We would love a rematch. We've been working a lot of things with Vitor. Making sure that he doesn't, get caught with anything silly again. So we would love the rematch. Of course, at the end of the day, it's up to the boss, Dana White. But if we have to maybe win one or two more fights, it doesn't matter right now because Vitor is so focused and so driven to get back to that title. Also, not to make excuses because Anderson Silva is a great champion. But the last camp, there was a couple little things that didn't go as planned, and I think now Vitor is past everything and leaving it in the back, and now he's focused and wants that belt. So whether it takes us a year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is, sooner or later we're going to get that shot and we're going to get that belt.
Now, Gil, my name is Richie. I'm on the show here as well. I am the co-host, my friend. First and foremost, I want to say thank you. It's an honor to speak with you. My question to you is, if you would get that fight with Anderson Silva once again, what would you do differently in training?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show. As far as the rematch with Anderson, me, myself, I've looked at a lot of tape on Anderson. So I've seen a lot of mistakes that he makes on his stand-up that people have not taken advantage of. I know he is a scary guy to fight, and he's got power and he's got speed and great footwork, great movement, great hand-eye coordination. But there's a few mistakes that he makes. And when that fight does come to be, we're going to work on certain specific things that he does that we're going to be able to capitalize on. And one thing that I can say now, even before, a lot of head movement. We've been working on Vitor moving his head with his hands where they should be. So not to be a still target. Anybody can hit something that doesn't move. But once you get a moving target, it's a little bit harder to hit it. Not that it's impossible, but it's a lot harder. So that's one thing that I can say right now that we've been working on with Vitor to improve his already well-rounded MMA career.
Now Vitor's last fight, it almost seemed like his fight with Akiyama. It seemed like he got very angry when Akiyama threw that front kick, just like Dana White said. And then what happened after that?
Yeah, I think he was a little insulted by it. You know, like kind of saying you're not going to catch me with the same thing twice, and I think that just you know pushed that button to for Vitor to just go ahead and come out and take care of business and do what he did. You know, one of the things with Vitor, his hands are so fast. People don't understand, and we are working on that. Even though he has fast hands, we've been working on his hand speed to get him to be, if not faster, just as fast as when he was 20, 21 years old.
Now, as far as Anderson Silva is concerned, Chael Sonnen, obviously very vocal just because he's trying to promote himself lately, has said that to beat Anderson Silva, you just have to bring the fight to him. Do you think in the last fight, Vitor Belfort didn't act quicker, or what can he change for the next?
Well, no. One thing I do believe that Chael Sonnen has been saying is that yes, when you fight Anderson, you have to bring the fight. You can't sit back and let him, you know, pick his shots and fight when he wants to fight. You can't do that. You have to pressure him, and you have to show him that he's going to be in a fight and that you're going to be on him from bell to bell. That's one thing that I agree with. As far as Vitor, the mistake that he made is that when the fight slowed down, he completely froze and stood right in front of Anderson, where you know he was able to get that kickoff. But if you remember the beginning of the fight, Vitor landed a few shots while Anderson was backpedaling, moving backwards. You know, as long as you don't let Anderson stabilize himself and set his feet to punch, then you have a good shot of either taking him down or landing some punches against him. And like Sonnen did in the fight, you know, he controlled him pretty much the whole fight, took him down. You know, his ground game, you know, needs some improvement because he was able, you know, he wasn't able to get up. You know, of course, he ended up beating him, but I think it was more of Sonnen kind of gassing out and giving up that position.
Now, I would agree with you about Chael Sonnen giving up position, but this is my question to you is, if Vitor and Anderson go to the ground, they're both high-level black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who would have the edge there and why?
Well, I think it depends on the position that they would be in. You know, we wouldn't want to be, because of Anderson's legs, we wouldn't want to be in where he can get, you know, any kind of triangles, anything like that, because he has the legs for that. I think if we're like on side control, I think that Vitor's strong enough to submit him. And, you know, you're talking about two high-level jiu-jitsu practitioners where, you know, for the most part, they're going to cancel each other out. Now, I think on the ground, it would come to who's a better wrestler, because the jiu-jitsu kind of cancels each other out. So who's going to be able to get the takedowns and who's going to be able to hold certain positions better than the other one. As far as submissions, I think they're equally dangerous, and they're experienced enough where it's going to be hard to get a submission against either guy. So I think, you know, wrestling is going to be a huge part in that fight.
Now, earlier, Gil, I was talking with you about Chael Sonnen. Chael recently mentioned you as one of the guys he really likes in the sport in his Q&A session before UFC 133. What is your relationship with Chael Sonnen?
Well, you know, we know each other just from the gym. He's been here at Couture's a couple of times. He's good friends with Randy and a couple of the other guys here at Couture's. You know, personality-wise, you know, he's got his own way of you know, hyping up the fights. But behind closed doors, you know, in the gym, he's a super nice guy. You know, everybody, you know, has their own way of hyping themselves up and hyping the fight up. You know, but he's a down-to-earth person, and I really like him. He's, you know, I've never had the chance to work with him, but maybe sometime down the road, I would like to work with him.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten the chance to work with him. Apparently he used to box amateur, is what he said before Anderson Silva bout. What do you think about his boxing?
I think he's definitely right around, in the top, maybe top 10 as far as hands, maybe, somewhere around there. I do think that he can sharpen his hands up, but he's not too bad, and that's one of the reasons that I would like to work with him someday, because I do see things that he can improve on that I think I could help him with.
Now, on that token of improving with Chael Sonnen, he's such a great wrestler. How, as a coach, would you teach him to not use so much wrestling and maybe incorporate a little bit of jiu-jitsu or start using his boxing background?
Well, I think, it would have to be something along the lines as what I've done with Gray, is getting him comfortable, with Gray Maynard, great wrestler, All-American. And I think once you get them comfortable and have them, see and recognize the openings and what they can get away with while they're using their hands, and setting up their takedowns with their hands, so that it doesn't have to be just a shot. I think once they're comfortable with that, it'll come more natural for them than to be kind of forced to use your hands.
Awesome. Last time we talked to you on MMA Insight here, you told us that the next up-and-coming guy, and I'm just going to tell you, before I say his name, you were very right, and I was lucky enough to see him fight, Mike Chandler. This guy is incredible, and you told us he was the next big thing.
Yes, I from day one when I started working with this kid, I seen the eagerness, I seen the drive, I seen how much he really wants to learn. And for any coach out there, I think that not only is he skilled, but for any coach, it's a pleasure to work with an athlete with his mentality. He is all about learning. And, he respects everybody that he fights, but he doesn't fear them. And he goes into every fight knowing deep down in his heart that he can win this fight. It doesn't matter. He went into that Bellator tournament with the least amount of experience of everybody that was in the tournament. In every fight that we had, he beat the guy at his own game.